In this short demo, I'm going to show you how MAC spoofing works, why it's dangerous, and what happens when we try to block it inside a Linux virtual lab built with namespaces. I've created two isolated hosts with Linux namespaces connected with a virtual Ethernet cable. Here's H1's MAC address, and here's H2's. And when I ping from H1 to H2, ARP learns the MAC address and everything works normally. H2 now knows that 10.0.0.1 belongs to this MAC address. Now let's look at what happens inside a switch. So when a frame arrives, the switch learns the source MAC address and stores it in the MAC table. Then it forwards the frame out to the correct port. Now this is the foundation of layer 2 networking. It's simple, fast, and completely trust-based. However, it does have security capabilities that a standard VETH pair does not have. Now we have two hosts. Now they're inside their own Linux namespace and they're connected with a simple VETH pair. They can communicate normally just like two devices on a small Ethernet link. So what happens when I change the MAC address on one side? Well, the connection still works. There's no authentication, no validation, and the network simply accepts the new MAC address. This is a real security weakness because nothing stops an attacker from pretending to be someone else at layer 2. Also, in this frame builder, we send a test frame with some basic details and it gets forwarded without any security checks. As you can see, we filled out all ports and the MAC address table gets populated. Now let's do this for real inside a Linux lab. So I've changed H1's MAC address to something completely different. And using a simple IP link command, then I flush the ARP cache and H2 so forgets the old entry. So when I ping again, H2 has no choice but to relearn the MAC address from the incoming frame. And as you can see, it learns the spoofed MAC address instantly. There's no warning, no authentication or security check. The network just thrusts whatever MAC address shows up. This is exactly why MAC spoofing is such an effective layer 2 attack. Now here's the interesting part. So you might expect that we can block this spoofed MAC address using EB tables, just like a switch would with port security. But a VETH pair in Linux is not a switch port. It behaves like a point-to-point layer 3 link, not a layer 2 switching interface. This means Linux routes the packet directly to the local IP stack, and it never passes through the layer 2 filtering chains. So even if we add EB tables rules, the spoofed MAC address still gets through. And this is actually a great lesson. MAC filtering only works on interfaces that behave like switch ports, and a VETH pair is not one of them.